So, welcome back everybody to the channel. You'll notice I'm in a different location this time. Yeah, I've got a whole setup going now, so that's good. Got a whole setup, no longer stuck in the shed. Still gonna go back to the shed after, every so often, just to work on some stuff like, I don't know, more woodworking stuff. If everybody wants to see more woodworking stuff, if that's something that's interesting, people. The pipe videos on TikTok didn't. I mean, the first one did good, but I think that had more to do with the fact that I was, using a blowtorch. So, the second one didn't do so good, unfortunately. But that's not gonna stop me from making more in the future. But the point of today, we will be talking about our first and only member of the classification snake wyvern. Well, I say that. There are three. The Remobra got reclassified. They were not originally snake wyverns, but they have been reclassified as of Gen 4. And then the target of today's video, Najarala. Najarala and its subspecies title, Najarala, are the only snake wyverns in the entirety of the franchise aside the aforementioned Remobras. But those look more like a bat lizard hybrid thing more than they do a snake wyvern. I'm talking like these things look like an actual snake. Granted, they have arms and legs, but now a lot of people are going to be like, well, wait a minute. What about Dalamadur? Well, Dalamadur, while yes is a snake-like wyvern, is actually classified as an elder dragon. So that's why I'm not talking about him right now and in this group. And also because it's not his video. He will get a video. But also behind me here, I have the board. I finally got the board made, like I said I would. So that's made. And I thought it'd be nice to take the little icons that you see in the Monster Hunter notes, the Hunter's notes in the game. And I took the little icons from the monster guide there, and I put them on the board. So they're on the board now. And then I even made one for today's video. You can see there. Oh, it's not gonna work. Is it gonna work? It's Najarala. Yeah, you can kind of see it a little bit. So Najarala. Oh, my eyes are very vibrant, popping. Anyway, so Najarala. So who is Najarala? Najarala is, like I said, the first and so far only member of the snake wyvern classification. Najarala was first introduced in the 4th gen, in Gen 4, Monster Hunter 4. So, Najarala is a giant, best thing I can describe it as a rattlesnake, really. He's a big old rattlesnake, and he just, what is he? Not really much of anything. I mean, he's not, it's like Kazu, when we talked about Kazu last week. He's not the first, hurdle, like he is, in Kutku. He's not, a flagship like Brachydios or Lagiacrus. But he is like Kazu in the sense that he's a teaching moment. Not only is he a teaching moment, but he introduces a lot of new stuff like Brachy did. So, what do I mean by teaching moment? Well, I mean, I don't even know what I mean by that. He inflicts, He's definitely interesting. He's very unique. He doesn't really teach much of anything, other than he's not the first monster to burrow underground. So it's not really much of that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is you have to very, very learn Najarala's fight, because Najarala, one of the unique things, he's a snake, so he will of course coil around you, and you're being dealt constant chip damage the whole time. And you have to break out. But the thing is, his scales are being hard to get through. So, you could be sitting there forever just trying to get through the scale, trying to hurt this guy. You're bouncing off a lot. It's very hard in scales. But that's not the only thing about him. He also has the ability to rattle his tail around and fire the scales, much like Nargacuga does with his tail scales. But these scales will stay in the ground pretty much indefinitely until they're used for their purpose, which is Najarala. He will rattle. And You get a taste of your own medicine because it works like a sonic bomb, but against you. So you're sitting there and you can be like, on the other side of the map you're in, and he'll set that scale off. You're hit. You're done. And it's a 100% guaranteed stun unless you have armor skills active that prevent it. So that's another thing. It's like, dude, this thing can just fucking throw something at you, and if he misses, oh well, maybe he wasn't aiming for you to begin with. But another good thing about it, uniquely, well, not uniquely, but I think it's cool they added it. Instead of giving him poison, they gave him paralysis on his bites, which is more. I mean, that's more. Snakes don't really. Well, some snakes paralyze, but typically you think venom as like a killing thing. But they gave him the paralysis, which I do like. So Najarala is all in all unique. Really, I mean, he's the one in a kind, and the title is the subspecies, which I mean, you get your generic general stuff, but and like Red Kezu, it's a mirror swap of its weaknesses, but he gets a new attack where he can, he spits water at you. But interesting thing, he also plays Pong. What do I mean by that? I mean, he throws the scales down, and instead of setting them off with the rattle and making them go off, he'll spit out some water, and if it hits a scale, it bounces. And he'll just keep bouncing that water ball around. So, Najarala is all in all a really cool monster. I've fought him before in GU and for Ultimate. I think Najarala is a really cool concept. Really cool concept for sure. Very interesting and a very unique design. Very unique concept. Snake wyvern. I mean, that's kind of cool. I wish there were more, and I think there should be more. And they may introduce more coming in, wilds. I don't know, because you've had a whole generation, and you haven't added another one. Which, granted, sometimes it takes two to add in more. Like Tigrix. No, Tigrix was introduced in the same gen as Nergakuga. So, I'm trying to think of like the gaps between adding another of a kind, and I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure the pseudo wyverns, Bariath was added later on, but there were already two. We're talking about one. I mean, technically they reclassified Remobra, but who counts Remobra? Who counts that thing? Those things, no, get those out of here. Flying lizards. Anyway. Najarala, all in all, I mean, I ain't got a lot to say because there's not a lot about him. He appears in 2 games. Well, I mean, if you count the Ultimates, 4 games. But, I mean, he's in 4 Ultimate, Generations, and Generations Ultimate. That's it. The title, same way. Like, it's really, really weird to me that there aren't more Snake Wyvern. I mean, don't get me wrong. Coming up with new classifications on the fly ain't easy. They had a lot of time to work on it, and it paid off. It was a really good fight, really interesting fight, really fun, great concept, giant snake, and then Dalamadur, I'll talk about him in his own video, but it's the same thing, and I guess the biggest problem is there's nothing to compare him to. I could compare Bracky to other brute wyverns. I could compare Laggy to other leviathans, but there's one snake wyvern, and that is Najarala. I just don't know. And I'm really glad of his name. I like getting these monsters who have pretty much one pronunciation. So it's a little easier for me. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird way to start off the whole reveal to the new setup here. It's like, this video kind of fucking sucks, huh? But I mean, I don't really have a lot of heart to put in it because Najarala, I want to give him a high score because he's really cool. He's a really unique concept. Snake wyvern, only one of his kind. I said that 35 times now, but like, what is there I can say? He's a big snake. He bites you. He's been in 2 games. I'm not gonna count the ultimates because they're just revamps of the games, So. Damn, I thought Najarala would be a bit more Maybe have a bit more to him, but uh, yeah, that's Najarala. I mean, I really don't know what else I could possibly say about Najarala. It's like, dude, he's just there. He's just a big snake, and he's got all this cool shit he can do. So do I think he should come back? Yeah, I'd like to fight Najarala again, especially with all the new mechanics and shit we get. And I'd like for the newer players from Gen 5 to see Najarala, because nobody even knows what a snake wyvern is nowadays, because nobody's played the old games. You know, Gen 4 and below counts as the old games, because there was quite a gap between World and GU, but I mean, it may not have been that big a gap, but still, the generational gap, not just like, oh, the game came out here and then the game came out here. I mean, like, us as people, our generational gap was pretty big. You know, a lot of people play World and they thought that was the first Monster Hunter. It's like, nah, that's not the first Monster Hunter. No, but it's a good first start. You know, it really is a good first game. I mean, you know what, I'll rate the games another day, probably. But for right now, monsters, and you know, maybe sometime weapons. I'll do everything. You know, items, fuck them, everything. I hate myself, so I want to give myself more work to suffer through. So, yeah, that's it's Najarala. I think Najarala should come back. Yes, 100% in Wilds, and I think they should add. I mean, they should put title in there as well, because, you know, subspecies got to come with it. But I think a variant might be cool, you know? We got, you know, Dread King, Rathalas, Bloodbath the Other. Why not get a Najarala? Like, a really, like, you know, interesting concept for a Najarala. Like, I don't know, maybe one that, you know, snakes in nature can sometimes grow two heads. Why not a two-headed Najarala? Go in for that little Hydra aspect kind of deal, you know? That might be cool. I mean, we have Nakarkos, so it's possible to have a monster with multiple, like, I mean, I know it's not multiple heads on Nakarkos, but, you know, you're getting attacked from multiple angles on the same monster. That might be really cool. Have a two-headed Najarala. Imagine that. That'd be awesome. So, factually, because of the lack of anything, I can't really put a good highest score on him. I mean, he's average. He really is. He's a bit of a forgettable experience, namely because there's just not a lot to him. I mean, he's very, very unique. I do give him props for that. And being the only of his classification, you know, that's a trailblaze right there. So, I mean, that bumps him up a bit. I would say, excuse me, very professional here. I would say Najarala gets. I think he is better than Kezu, for sure. For sure, a better monster than Kezu. So we might put him above Yayan Kutku. Slightly, because Yayan Kutku has a job and he does his job well. Najarala, not so much, but he's a very, very fun fight. I will say that. Very fun fight. Very unique concept. And yeah, so we'll put him slightly higher than Kutku, Yayan Kutku, on the B tier. So, that being said, you guys can finally watch me do that. So, here's the board. And as you can see, we've got the S, A, B, C, D, F. Skipping E because nobody uses E in tier lists. This thing's huge. This is a full-on trifold board, like you get at the science fair. So, you'll see here, if you can, I've got the, anyway, here in S tier. This is so stupid. Oh, hang on, I got a better idea. Let me just, is anybody hidden back there? No, nobody's hidden back there. Okay, cool. So here we have an S tier, Brachydios. A tier, we have the Lagiacris. And then over here, near the middle of the board, it's folded right now, so this is the middle. Yan Kaku. And then down here, because he's mid B tier, and then down here, this is around. I'm going to be going this way, next line this way, next line this way with these scalings. So down here, like trailing in the very ass end of C tier is Kezer. So we're going to be putting Najarala right about here, past Yan Kaku, because here's Kaku. We'll put him about right there. So let me grab myself some tape. I was planning on using like glue sticks for this, but then I was like, wait a minute. I have to redo these, every so often if something happens. Like I've been saying, the list can change. It can change. It's variable. Especially like in Laggy's case, if he comes back, he might go up higher. And if Najarala comes back, he might go up higher. I think Najarala could have worked great in Rise. Really, really good in Rise. I don't know. It's just me. Okay. And there were rumors he was coming. There was rumors that a lot of monsters were coming to Sunbreak. Laggy being one of them. And I got really disappointed when he didn't. So, Najarala, my friend. My big slithery boy. Right there. Kaku. It's hard to see, but let me get my lamp over here. See if that helps. It made it worse. Awesome. This looks orange, but it's actually red at the moment. So and Kaku's here, middle of B, high end of B, Najarala. So, with that being said and done, I'd like to thank everybody who is watching for watching. Not a lot of people watch these. Kinda sucks, but yeah. So thanks for watching if you are, and follow on the TikTok, which hopefully that's still up at me, because there's that whole thing going on where they might actually be shutting that down now. So no way of telling yet, but head over to the TikTok at Portal Dweller for my SCP content. I just posted a new one, 1269. Yeah, SCP-1269. That video's up. And just follow in general. With this new setup, good things are to come. Good things are coming. So I'm actually gonna go talk with my associates, and we'll see what we can get going on here. So again, thanks for watching.